return to glory.
Did we just see what we think we just saw?
If that doesn't give you chills, you're never going to get them.
As good as it gets.
You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. From the Low Country, Patriots Point in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, it's the USL Championship playoffs as the second-seeded Charleston Battery welcome the defending Eastern Conference champions in Rhode Island. It's the 2-7 game in the Eastern Conference bracket. The winner plays North Carolina in the next round of the playoffs. Louisville, losing last night, has opened up the entirety of these USL Championship playoffs on either side of the bracket. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody, alongside Devin Kerr and our entire crew. I'm Sean St. Jacques. We'll hear from Brooke Kirchhofer in just a few moments. Charleston now have home field throughout the rest of the USL Championship playoffs after Louisville's defeat yesterday, taking on maybe a bogey team in Rhode Island who are looking for a second straight run to an Eastern Conference final.
Let's start right there. The journey in 2025 for Rhode Island FC has been a very interesting one, filled with highs and lows. The reason for that being their identity, not as clear-cut as what we saw the team in 2024 take down the Eastern Conference final. They've attempted to play with the ball at their feet a little bit more. They're still physical, they're demanding of themselves, but the consistency really hasn't come around until the last 10 games. It's near identical to the run that we saw at the end of the 2024 season. The biggest difference here is on the attacking side of the football. Roles less defined. They've struggled for as many results. The good news is 54% of the goals that they put in the back of the net, Sean, have come in the last 10 matches. And when it comes to their success against the Charleston Battery, this has been the bogey team for the Charleston Battery. Only two teams in the Eastern Conference since 2023, that's when Lee Cohen came in and head coach Ben Pierman took over, have been able to get the best of the Charleston Battery. Louisville City, they bowed out yesterday against Detroit City, and Rhode Island FC. And the reason being, they've been extremely physical. They push Rhode Island, they sit deep, they defend with the best of them. But it's going to take something special here tonight. The Charleston Battery, near perfect in the last 3 seasons. In fact, if not for their Eastern Conference rival in Louisville City, you are looking at the best statistical team in the history of the USL Championship over the last 3 years. Total football for Ben Pierman and co.
The Charleston Battery are the leading goal scorers this year in the USL Championship. Brooke Kirchhofer caught up with their leading goal scorer, Cal Jennings, earlier.
Cal, it's a rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals. I know you weren't a part of the Battery just yet, but what have been the conversations that you have heard in the locker room about wanting to get this one back?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a fun matchup. You know, these two teams have faced maybe not a lot of times, but every game's been interesting. And I know a lot of the fans are tuned in tonight to see what the rematch looks like, and we're excited to get out there and get after it.
What's been the focus this week for you personally and how you guys can walk out of this one with a win?
Yeah, just focus on what we do well. You know, we've gotten to this point in the season, put ourselves in a really good position to host a game, and, you know, now we got to go fight with a difficult team and a lot of good athletes. So we're ready to get after it.
Thanks, Cal.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, the Charleston Battery are in search of some redemption in the USL Championship playoffs this afternoon. Is it Rhode Island's time to make another deep run using road games to lead the way? We'll have lineups in the kickoff on CBS Sports Network next. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Countdown to kickoff in this Eastern Conference quarterfinal, a meeting of the last two Eastern Conference champions. Sean St. Jacques, Devin Kerr here with you. We dive into the starting 11, starting with the host, Ben Pierman, and the second-seeded Battery.
4-4-2 for the Charleston Battery. Don't be surprised as you start at the top if you see MD Myers waver from those central locations. Really good at dropping down in, pocket presence, back to goal to release Cal Jennings. I'm watching the width of this game for Arturo Rodriguez and Jeremy Kelly. They're all about combination play to link up centrally. This whole team loves to fluctuate a little bit more outside in. What they have to remain is disciplined. When they get high and they're battering Rhode Island FC deep down defensively, they have to stay together in the transitional moments. That's where Rhode Island FC, Cano Smith, and their 3-4-3 is going to pick things up. Do not be surprised if you see a physical game, nor Rhode Island FC willing to push the tempo. The real question for them is going to be, how much are they willing to absorb? At their best, they're in a mid to low block, holding possession at times, but also springing free into the space in behind. Amos Shapiro-Thompson cleared from concussion protocol. Massive for this lineup tonight, dropping in, creating with that midfield three, and releasing that front two.
Last season was Rhode Island's first season as a club, and they made it all the way to the USL Championship final. Their biggest scalp along the way was arguably the win here over the Charleston Battery in the Eastern Conference final. At the time, the Battery were the defending Eastern Conference champions. They had beaten Louisville here the year before in 2023. Many thought that the Battery at the time, in Ben Pierman's first season, were a year ahead of schedule. Last year they were expected to get there. This year they have plans of getting there and lifting the trophy at the end of what's been a wonderful stretch of play under Ben Pierman and of course Lee Cohen in the front office as well. But Rhode Island's been a bogey team, whether it's been in the regular season, earlier this year in Pawtucket. Rhode Island beat the Battery by 1-0 or the 2-1 win here in the conference final last season. Rhode Island feel that they're playing the best they've played all season at the right time, and that they could pull it off again. Elton Garcia is our head official here in the Low Country. And the Battery get us started in this Eastern Conference quarterfinal. The number 2 seeded Battery hosting the 7th seed Rhode Island. The winner advances to play North Carolina next week in the Eastern Conference semifinals. It's a chance at redemption for Charleston after the defeat here against Rhode Island last season. Rhode Island trying to recreate the magic that saw them get all the way to the final in their first season as a club last time around. The Battery will be going from left to right. They are in black and yellow. Rhode Island are in their Rhode Amber kits from head to toe. Sean St. Jacques, Devin Kerr, Brooke Hertzhofer, our entire crew cannot wait to see how it all unfolds. Bit of an early Rhode Island press sees Cano Smith's men win a throw-in just to the left of the halfway line on the near side. Hamady Job looking for J.J. Williams, who's going to be a pinpoint player, as he always is for Rhode Island today. Aaron Malloy wins it back for the Charleston captain, Leland Archer. And the chance to thread it through for Cal Jennings is snuffed out, but MD Myers keeps the Battery on the front foot. Near side, Douglas Martinez goes out of play, but stays with the Battery in front of the Charleston technical area. Well, there is the Charleston head coach, Ben Pierman. It's his 3rd season in charge. What a job he's done. He's gotten to a USL Championship final. And of course, this is his 3rd consecutive Eastern Conference final that he's brought the Battery to after what was a really rough stretch for one of the most historic clubs that the United States has at any level of the beautiful game. Ben Pierman tends to make deep runs towards the conference quarterfinal, conference semi, and of course the conference final back in 2023. Arturo Rodriguez and Aaron Malloy, two good candidates to take this Charleston set piece with 2.5 minutes gone.
One of the biggest assets that Rhode Island FC carry in their back pocket is flexibility within the lineup overall. Already a change, Clay Holstad up high, Hugo Bacharach into the midfield, and Frank Nodarce will drop in deep. That pushes Amos Shapiro-Thompson outside. This is what we talked about over the Open, Sean, and the fact that you have the ability to change a lot, but it also doesn't have a clear-cut identity. The good news is that flexibility with the lineup, it's also a big change from what we've seen recently for Rhode Island.
Well, the ball was whipped in by Rodriguez. Still a chance for Graham Smith to recover this. And he sends it right back into the mix, looking for Cal Jennings, the looping header, a sidewinding kick. Was it a high boot? Rhode Island still trying to clear this away. Charleston recover it with Rodriguez. He loops it back into the middle, looking for Jennings. It's popped up into the air and eventually caught by Coque Vegas.
Constant pressure, well maintained by the Charleston battery. Love the idea from Jeremy Kelly to just throw it right back into the mixer. Cal Jennings had good positioning on the backside. Notice the scrambling inside the 18 positionally. We've seen a bunch of changes onto that back three. Nodarce to the outside right center back spot. The question of Shapiro-Thompson in front of him. This is about communication early on, establishing relationships, and the recognition by the Charleston battery of where to be impactful.
Once again, Ben Pierman has led the battery to a sparkling home record. 12 wins, 2 draws, just 1 defeat, and that 1 defeat came back in March here against Lou City, a 2-1 loss in the opening fixture of the regular season. Other than that, the battery have not lost here in the USL Championship, but Cano Smith's men had the same prospects put on them last year when they came to Charleston. They triumphed. They went to Colorado Springs, but they did lose the final along the way, and he feels, the team feels, they might be up for it a second time in a row.
Biggest takeaway for Rhode Island FC in 2025 that mirrors the exact results we saw in 2024, belief. And while certainly the identity of this team has varied over the course of the year, the belief that they were always going to find success has never wavered from the dressing room or the technical area. That's the most important thing. White noise, sure. Results, maybe. But the identity within the group that you will always find a way has remained constant.
Harivo linking up with Holstead. I know that's certainly a pairing in the midfield we'll be keeping an eye on for Rhode Island as this match progresses. That ball slithers through, looking for J.J. Williams. It's the challenge from Graham Smith that ricochets it back to Vegas. So Rhode Island coming in unbeaten in 6 of their last 7 league games. Critical win over Tampa Bay a few weeks back at home by 5-0, put them right on the path for the playoffs. Then they clinched a playoff berth with a 0-0 draw the week after at North Carolina, who of course the Rhode Island side could play next week if they prevail here this afternoon. Well, the third member of our team is Brooke Kirchhoffer. She's patrolling the sidelines. Brooke, what do you have for us?
You won't find a single member of Rhode Island's club that hasn't bought into what they've built in just a short time. They put the league on notice in their inaugural season, making it to the USL Championship final. Goalkeeper Coque Vegas says belief was part of their DNA last year, and during these last few games, he says they've shown that once again. Forward Noah Fuson echoed that sentiment, saying people looking from the outside might think, oh, they don't have it, they're done. But internally, we all believe that we can make the same run we did last year, and we can win this thing. But it'll take a massive performance in Charleston, as the Battery have only lost 1 match at home all year.
A lot of white noise, to Brooke's point about this Rhode Island team. Pressure put on them because of the point made back in 2024, Eastern Conference title holders, and what was the third best team, if you looked at goal differential, clean sheets, points per game in the second half of the season. And within that white noise, there's disbelief. That's fine, because they don't care. I'm one of the people who's been a part of that white noise, saying, where has all the greatness that we saw last year been in 2025? But as long as that dressing room isn't affected, that's all that matters. The belief that she references, instilled in the DNA and constant, that's all Cano Smith is going to care about.
There was pressure mounting on this Rhode Island team before that last 7-game stretch. Could they get to the playoffs after so much high expectations from the offseason into the early parts of this season? The new stadium opening as well. Centerville Bank Stadium was a massive storyline for Rhode Island this year. Just like last year, they were able to figure it out, and here they are. A long throw, though, from Clay Holstead comes up short. Rodriguez follows up for Charleston, cleared only as far as Joe, and Holstead is forced to send it all the way back to Coque Vegas. Vegas up ahead. Charleston closed the door at the expense of a throw-in. Back in by Quizera to Fuson. Quizera again to Fuson on the near side. Broken up by the Irishman, Aaron Malloy, and Charleston have a free kick.
Physical nature of the game and what it will be. Quite interesting to see how it plays out. That can frustrate the overall tempo from the Charleston Battery possessionally and statistically. Best team in USL Championship. Although credit to Ben Pierman, our chat with him yesterday, Sean, he said, it's just kind of the way it worked out. We don't necessarily want to be the team that has the ball all the time. And if anything, it's made us grow as a squad because we've had to find different solutions based upon the variables presented to us. If a team presses us high, we have to keep the ball at our feet. How do we break through it? When they sit down deep, do we have the ability 30 yards and in to consistently break down the opponent? The results and the numbers most certainly say yes.
Quizera, the Rwandan international, throws it back into play. Flicked on by J.J. Williams. Down the line for Zach Harivo, who does keep the ball in play for Rhode Island. Rhode Island players queuing up into the middle when no one got a touch onto it. A searching ball into the heart of the penalty area, but it goes out for a goal kick.
It's a good move coming out of the midfield for Rhode Island FC. Luck the coverage for Noah Fuson as they release Zach Harivo. The problem we run into, notice how he slows his run. Good patience on his head up to allow the runs to come into the box, but physically demanding on the back line from the Charleston Battery to eliminate the late run by Clay Holstead and J.J. Williams. That's the key point right now. You're looking at the 9 for Rhode Island, high up top in that point position. Do not allow him speed to get in behind you, nor the ball lifted into the box. He is incredible from an aerial threat standpoint.
J.J. Williams has scored or assisted in 15 different games that he's played with Rhode Island. Rhode Island's record in those games, 12 wins, 3 draws, no defeats. One of the things that Cano Smith talked to us about earlier this week, the one thing they've had to work on with J.J. Williams, not really a thing you work on, but they've had to work through, really, has been his injuries. He's been injured early in both of his 2 seasons with Rhode Island, but he's been back in top form at just the right time last year, and it's happening again this year.
Getting J.J. Williams healthy, number one, the most important thing. I'd argue the second one, real close in nature, Sean, is going to be the relationships around him. Who are going to be the pieces to fit in and really help provide him success? Maxi Rodriguez brought in the offseason, hasn't exactly found that statistically. Is it going to be the golden playmaker of a year ago, Noah Fuson, onto that front line? Who comes out of the middle?
A lovely pirouette from Rodriguez. And then the shot is skewered over the top and out for a goal kick.
All of which come back to the idea of just giving J.J. Williams an opportunity. He's the type of player that will take a mile if you give him an inch, and certainly in better form right now. Health, absolutely. There's an interesting tone to this team that has set 12 minutes into the game. Pace off the ball is something that's going to be synonymous. No Darce off the back line. Amos Shapiro-Thompson, Clay Holstead right down there on cue into the corner. They're all about motor, the way that they've set this team up tonight, immediately putting the Battery under pressure, not letting them establish tempo with the ball at their feet.
former Pittsburgh Riverhound, Langston Blackstock, will take the throw for the Battery. It's headed down into the path of Arturo Rodriguez. He loses out to Zach Haribo. That's a turnover. Shapiro Thompson will recycle it back to the versatile Frank Nadarce. And then Haribo is fouled by Josu Landry. And Rhode Island wanted to get on with that and take it quickly. Elton Garcia will have them take it from the original spot of the infraction. That's what Cano Smith was bringing up to the fourth official as well. They wanted to play on quickly there, Rhode Island, but forced to settle for a restart and a free kick. Eventually, Zamudio recycles for the Battery. Charleston scored 62 goals in the regular season. That was the most in the USL Championship. 19 wins is the most the Battery have had in club history in a regular season. And considering they played 4 fewer regular season games due to Jägermeister Cup action, makes that stat even more impressive. Malloy tries to win it back for Charleston. Rhode Island controls, and Amos Shapiro Thompson tries to clip it up ahead. Was there a push in the back there? Referee says no. J.J. Williams trying to muscle his way forward. Eventually, he commits a foul, and it's a Charleston free kick.
I like the narrowness, though, of Rhode Island FC's midfield, with Holstad rotating in, Fuson as well. Bacharach drops underneath real quick. You create a tight, dense diamond, but you still maintain the width. And what that's doing is, as the Charleston Battery push in, they got on the ball, puts a lot of pressure on them, Sean. And then even if they win the first one, they don't have the ability to quickly play out because the front line condensing and the width for Rhode Island FC converging onto them. That's about bypassing that initial line of pressure to get away from those quick steps in from the visitors. Play up over the top, reset your defensive line, and take some of those movements away.
Down the line by Martinez. Well defended by Karifa Yao. And after a bit of hesitation there, it is a Rhode Island throw just in front of Ben Pierman. We should mention as well how much respect that there is between the two head coaches. Ben Pierman and Cano Smith both waxed lyrical, not just this week, but really all season when these two teams have met, about how much these two coaches respect each other and what each coach has been able to do at their respective clubs. And of course, how much the other is going to give them a tough test, not just today, but anytime these two get together, and the players have shared the same sentiments. Langston Blackstock. Really a miscue touch there by Jeremy Kelly. Blackstock recovers it. Kelly tried to nudge it forward. Josu Landry pressured by Haribo. And eventually it ricochets out for a throw. Show off your team pride and style with official merch from shopusl.com. Check out brand new tees, hoodies, novelty items, and more of your favorite USL team at shopusl.com by scanning the QR code now.
You submit your order for Christmas yet? Figure out what your stocking stuffer is going to be?
I may need to adjust my budget because it's a pretty big amount of items I want, Devin, and I'll be honest, I have to get back to you on that.
Hey, here I figured you were on the naughty list. Nice to know that you're at least getting something.
You're right.
I'm not involved in those conversations.
I may have to ask Santa to check it twice.
There you go.
Meanwhile, that's a bit of a concerning sight for the Battery. Aaron Malloy is down here in the middle of the Battery half on the far side.
the argument from head coach Ben Pierman of the Charleston Battery on the sideline that is also being put forth by Leland Archer is persistent infringement here. Not whatsoever, the step through. Now, to be fair here to J.J. Williams, there's no malintent on that, but certainly a massive knock on Aaron Malloy. And given all that we know, what can go on through head injuries, concussion protocols, making sure you check every single box, I would mention on the persistent infringements, that's 3 separate times in the opening 17 minutes as we spill into the 18th now, that they've been knocked off the ball like that, real quickly stepping in and eliminating any sort of ability for the Battery to play. The referee's going to take notice of that. That's a warning that has to be issued if you want to maintain control. The biggest concern from Ben Pierman and the Battery on the sideline.
You may have seen there the reason that Aaron Malloy's come off, not just because it's a possible head injury, but he was bleeding on his forehead as well. Right side of your screen, next to Ben Pierman, he's being evaluated off to the side.
Just reasserting a dominant position, Aaron Malloy. Nice little step off, and credit to him being brave heading into it. There's only ever going to be one outcome with those two champions going to battle. The coming two of the best of minds in USL Championship play, certainly most consistent at their positions over the past couple of years. I'm sure Cal Jennings would have something to say about that.
We mentioned the J.J. Williams stat earlier. Over the last 2 seasons, when Cal Jennings has scored or assisted in a game, whether it's been for the Rowdies last year or the Battery this year, his team's record in those games is 25 wins, 5 draws, 2 defeats. And that Rowdies season, 2024, they never lost. Of course, we saw Aaron Malloy being evaluated on the sideline. Brooke Hertzhofer is on the sideline. Brooke, what do you have for us there?
It was less about a concussion protocol issue and more about just trying to get the bleeding to stop for Aaron Malloy. They weren't able to stick a bandage on his forehead because of the sweat, so they were really just trying to get the bleeding to stop, and now he's back out fine.
And he's on the back foot here with Rhode Island trying to move it forward. Amos Shapiro-Thompson galloping down the far side. He's crossed into the middle. He's cut out by Leland Archer.
If you like to play the market, Sean, that's where you go invest in Vaseline. Just saying. Right up over the top. Never hurt anybody.
May have to add it to my Christmas list. Well, the hustle there from Myers nearly led to a takeaway, but Jobe handled the pressure so well there for Rhode Island. And then Haribo is brought down, or I should say brought back. And it is going to be a Rhode Island free kick just to the right of the halfway line on the near side.
A little bit surprised there's no card issue on the pull from behind here. Nice step up off the back line. Hamidi Chop. Natural left-sided center back, something that the overall complement Rhode Island FC have been lacking. Got him at a portion of the season. Karifa Yao, Frank Nodarse, Grant Stoneman. I mean, when you run through the ranks of what they have available defensively, never a question for Rhode Island FC.
Lovely take here by Noah Fuson. Lays it off for Haribo. Haribo trying to feed it back to Fuson. He lost it and then commits a foul. Cano Smith has a great relationship with all of his players, but has a long-standing relationship with Zach Harivo, has coached him at multiple junctures of his career. Of course, Harivo was trying to find Noah Fuson, who was the match winner last time Rhode Island were here in the Eastern Conference Final. Of course, the regular season meeting went Charleston's way, a Cal Jennings brace, and a 2-0 win earlier in the campaign. Just the fact that Rhode Island has a winning record against Charleston is a staggering stat in itself. You could argue it's still a relatively small sample size, but only one of two teams since Ben Pierman, as you mentioned earlier, Devin, has taken over that have that claim. That's getting towards the dictionary definition of a thorn in the side. It's lofted up top for Jennings, who holds it up well. Towards the edge of the area, Rhode Island win the ball back. Charleston were crying out for a foul. It's not been given. Oh, and then it's a late challenge there from Williams. And J.J. Williams is yellow carded.
It was time. It's late here in general. J.J. Williams, again, he's not the type of player to go be reckless, but he's just too late into the tackle to avoid being carded in this situation. Good hold-up play by Graham Smith on the back line, by the way, recognizing Douglas Martinez, who's coming in for support. Real revelation. Douglas Martinez has been at the right back spot for the Charleston Battery. Brought him in the offseason, thought he would be that winger striker type depth piece, but they also went and got Cal Jennings. The quality of MD Myers still there. And with what had been the consistency of Juan David Torres, he lost his spot, was injured, really had no ability whatsoever to get involved into training, yet alone anywhere near the lineup. And now sharpied into the team sheet every single week. 42 right side of your screen right there. Douglas Martinez, a guy that all too well knows success within this league, part of the 2019 team Real Monarchs that went into Lou City, Western Conference champions, eventual USL Championship title holders. A new identity for Douglas Martinez and a home in Charleston.
Martinez will take the long throw for the Battery. It's headed to the outskirts for Malloy to reset. Arturo Rodriguez. Kelly plays it back for Malloy. Another entry ball that Hugo Bacharach is able to get a touch on for Rhode Island defensively. Crossfield pass by Nodarse, and it's right on the money for Fuson. Fuson forced into the corner, finds Quizera. Quizera around Malloy, slides it through for Fuson. It's lovely build-up play. Hugo Bacharach tried to bend it, but it's wide of the target after a promising move from Rhode Island.
Slow in transition here for the Charleston Battery. I like the idea of releasing this long ball down into the corner. Good response by Douglas Martinez to just step in front and hold it up. Now, while he loses his footing on the back end of this, you're going to start to see the Charleston Battery step in. This is where an attacking player on the left side of your screen and Douglas Martinez gets confused. He's got to continue his run there with Noah Fuson. Aaron Malloy stays tight on his run. You're one-on-one, Sean, and you're golden. Instead, Malloy's slow. Douglas Martinez doesn't come in. And while they don't get it on frame, that's a decent build-off from Rhode Island coming off of mistakes by the Charleston Battery.
Hugo Bacharach scored a goal that ended up not counting because of the forfeit victory against Las Vegas. He said after that game how much confidence that goal gave him. Doesn't count on the stat sheet, but boy, has it counted in future performances and his ability to move forward into the attack. We saw one long throw up the other end. Now Clay Holstead's turn to try to pick out a teammate inside the Charleston 18-yard box. Holstead sees his throw headed away and cleared by Rodriguez. Jennings trying to hold it up. Shapiro Thompson wins a free kick. Rhode Island have pushed some numbers forward here. Jopin Fuson deciding how they want to handle this set piece. It's clipped to the far side edge of the area. There's a chance to feed that back across by Bacharach. It fizzles out of play. Smith for Leland Archer. And the Rhode Island pressure. They thought it led to a throw-in for Rhode Island. It does not. Charleston get the call and get possession back. Clipped up ahead by Smith. And MD Myers got enough on it to find Rodriguez. Was Rodriguez held up? Charleston again asking the questions of Elton Garcia, who is not interested. Holstead. Haribo's going to get there ahead of Smith. Williams through the middle. Holstead behind Haribo for support. Noah Fuson for Clay Holstead. Smith is there. And then Fuson commits a foul to end the sequence.
No foul on the opposite end on Arturo Rodriguez. Really good ball to release this attack coming forward by Hamidi Diop. That's the left-sided center back we referenced a couple of times. This touch right here, no chance. Great job by Carifiao just standing up his space. Watch how quick the decision comes to push forward. Releasing Fuson into the midfield, but then reciprocated defensively by the Charleston battery. Open it up here over the last 5 minutes.
That's a foul and a free kick. Cal Jennings brought down midway through the Rhode Island half. Put back into play quickly. That was a swing and a miss from Shapiro Thompson, who eventually gets it clear only as far as Aaron Malloy. Malloy with a reverse ball over the top. It's Nodarse's header, and the clearance by Carifiao. Clip back forward to Rodriguez. Tries to find Jennings over the top, and again, Rhode Island have the answers defensively there. Sue Landry fighting through a challenge. Martinez tried to follow up, and it rolls back for Smith.
Recognize the last couple of minutes for the Charleston battery. Trips down, much more direct in nature. Quicker decision-making overall, but bypassing that pressure. We talked about 15-20 minute mark, how good Rhode Island were being stepping up in and applying that initial line of confrontation. Good response by the battery.
Rodriguez down the line. Lovely take here by Kelly. Kelly's cross into the middle. It's over almost everybody's head. Langston Blackstock recovers it. Blackstock tries to fizz one in there. Critical intervention from Nodarse, and it's out for a corner.
Good one-on-one down in the corner. Love the decision to just quickly come back through the body, release it into the box, especially with all the bodies scrambling, Sean. When it makes its way from one side to the other, the defensive line is misshaped. So you're trying to establish better communication and overall sense of what your shape is going to be. They do that, Rhode Island, but you're a little bit slow to get to the outside and nearly get a look on the near post.
Malloy's delivery. Here comes Martinez's ball back across. It was on the doorstep. Charleston could not get it on target. It's sent back in. And Rhode Island emerged with the ball in the end. It's Jope trying to lead them up the other end. Still Jobe, and he's touched down by Archer. Archer is booked, and Rhode Island have a free kick.
Great idea here initially with the slow entrance into the box for Douglas Martinez. This is the quality you get out of an attacker turned defender. Don't need to be crazy, just throw it right back into the mix. Does so. What a tackle on the back post that is. I mean, this is near impossible. You want to leave your feet, you better be absolutely certain as a center back you're going to get there. Khalifa Yao does, and a smart decision. As Hamidi Jobe comes high, Leland Archer comes in from behind. Good refereeing and incredible end-to-end stuff from Rhode Island.
Jobe and Fuson again from a set-piece opportunity. Last year's golden playmaker of the season tries to pick out Nodarse, who was the closest one to it, misses everybody.
Now comes the cat and mouse games as you start to approach the dressing room. You see a Rhode Island team that's high, they're aggressive at times, and really frustrating. Charleston took them time to get a response. Now Charleston, more clear-cut in nature, Rhode Island scrambling a little bit. If you're Rhode Island, you make a decision. Do you continue down the path, or do you come back into your shell a little bit? I like that idea. The problem that also presents is you're conceding possession, and you're allowing the Charleston battery to really dictate which way you'd like to step into this game. Intermittently showing those levels of aggression we saw early on benefits Rhode Island more now because you're going to lure the Charleston battery out. Just have to stay disciplined.
Brooke Kirchhofer is between the benches on this near side. Brooke, what did you hear from the Charleston battery side of things?
After that last corner kick opportunity, head coach Ben Pierman said, we just have to be calmer. We're getting fouled a lot. Have to stop making the little mistakes and just get back to what we do well. Calm it down on the attacking end.
Certainly feels like the game is trending in that direction. Cleaner on the ball. You know, what is the identity of the Charleston battery? Possessionally making you feel uncomfortable, shifting you, rotation, and the movements coming forward. Maintaining an overall shape on the back line as you move higher. We've done well to establish about 75% of that into this game.
Jojea Quizera is the player being looked at right now for Rhode Island. There's been some promise already for Cano Smith's men in these opening 35, 36 minutes. A couple of half chances at the left side. Charleston more recently a half chance or two at the opposite end. Again, the winner of this game gets third-seeded North Carolina next week. If Charleston wins, they would host North Carolina here at Patriots Point. If Rhode Island wins, they would go to Cary in the 3-7 game next week. That's cleared up ahead by Fuson. This is J.J. Williams, a push and a chase. Past Graham Smith, who does catch up to him. J.J. Williams, in the end, puts too much on it and sends it well out of play. Well, we head across the Atlantic for some world-class football as Tottenham and Copenhagen go head-to-head in the UEFA Champions League. Catch all the action Tuesday at 3 Eastern right here on CBS Sports Network and streaming live on Paramount+. Cleared up field by Luis Zamudio. Rhode Island win the initial header, but give up possession via a throw in front of Cano Smith. Archer's ball over the top here. Cal Jennings fighting his way to 2 Rhode Island defenders, but the team back there, Nodarse and Yao, do enough to hold him off. Leland Archer's on the ball there. Actually wrote a great article on the USL Championship website this week about his relationship with not just the Battery, but with the city of Charleston, a CFC player in college as well at Trinidad and Tobago Youth International. And credited not only Ben Pierman, but former Battery coach, Battery legend Mike Anhauser, in his development year in and year out with this Battery group. Said he wants to continue to make appearances and maybe break some club records there, but of course, no surprise what his second big goal is, and that's to lift more trophies as a Battery captain. Archer surveys the scene here. 5 minutes plus stoppage time left in the half. Smith for Martinez. Martinez over the top. Oh, did that come off an arm? Cal Jennings asking the questions there. Referee Elton Garcia says no, and we play on.
They got away with one there. Left arm of Hamidi Diop was certainly away from the body. What a touch it was by Cal Jennings as he slipped it back through. Arms away from the body. 100% affects the run of play. Husu would have been in.
I do wonder if Elton Garcia's view from where he was standing,
angle, for sure,
might have been obstructed.
But the AR down in the quarter had a clear-cut look. That's where, you know, communication between the refereeing crew just has to be a little bit better in the moment. Did you see it? No. Are you positive there was contact there, walking each other through it? Fourth official would have had a decent glimpse too.
The flicked-on header for Jennings. Rodriguez off to his right. He finds Rodriguez, who touches it away from the 2 Rhode Island defenders, but takes the ball out of play at the exact same time.
Best opportunities we've seen in the first half from Charleston Battery have been route one. Off the back line, quickly, down into the channels, or secondary balls flicked in as Cal Jennings brings this back through. Notice that pink over his right shoulder. What he's looking for is an oncoming run there. He finds it. The problem is Arturo Rodriguez doesn't reciprocate. He too needed to check where his shadow was. Husu popping out of the midfield. The aggression would have been an absolutely perfect build for the Charleston Battery, but Arturo Rodriguez didn't see it, and the touch gets away from him.
Might have been a slight issue with Frank Nodarse, who's been told to step off the pitch for a moment. Of course, as we anticipated, you can hear it. Goes without saying. It's another fantastic atmosphere here at Patriots Point, and frankly, it's that way every week.
I feel like you could be in a drum line, no? Play an instrument?
I could certainly move the sticks up and down. I think the contact on the drum might be where I'm in trouble.
More of a cowbell in your future?
Oh, no question about it. Always need more cowbell. I think I heard that line once somewhere. Rodriguez up ahead for Jennings. This is promising for Charleston. Jennings goes for goal, and it swivels out of play.
Straightforward for the Battery once again as Douglas Martinez releases this back in. You know, there's going to be frustration here for Cal Jennings that he doesn't get off the strike that he wants, but to be fair to Rhode Island FC and defensively how they shut it down, this is a low-risk opportunity.
You've got plenty of defensive support on the weak side. The runner's coming back through the middle. Cal Jennings is being steered away from goal. It is one of the most difficult tasks that any team has had to deal with, is shutting down both the attack of Cal Jennings and the oncoming threat of MD Myers, two of the most potent in USL Championship play this year.
Jennings takes it away, and then it's recovered by Harivo as he tried to feed Husu Landry in the heart of the 18-yard box. Holstead looks to lead Rhode Island up the other end. It's looped over the top, but Zamudio tracks it down. Some Rhode Island pressure on this near side. Malloy, first time ball to no one in particular. And Coque Vegas. Oh, Coque Vegas goes on a bit of an adventurous run here. Martinez nearly slides to get it for Charleston. It's last off of Charleston, and it's a Rhode Island throw.
Coque Vegas thought he was going to have the support on this ball to come back out, and not uncharacteristic to see the fancy footwork from the Spaniard. There was a touch on the end of it. A lot of people at home probably didn't see it, but it is the correct decision from the refereeing crew. You know, the one thing you would say about Rhode Island FC's back line right now, you know, if the game's going to continue to be direct like this, you do want to keep it in front of you. They're not going to win these one-on-one battles down into the corner. They don't have the same amount of speed with the two strikers. That's about Quizera and Shapiro Thompson of making sure the game's in front of them so you have support instead of losing these initial 50-50s and then you're off to the races to recover.
Good step by Kelly. Wonderful ball in by Malloy, and a critical header by Nodarse. Rhode Island again trying to play their way out. Harivo up ahead for Bacharach. Holstead running alongside him. Williams off to his left. Bacharach for Clay Holstead, who has it blocked by Archer. We're into 3 added minutes at the end of the half. Another end-to-end sequence. This is looped over the top for Jennings, and Jope is able to get there ahead of him. Jope. And the layoff by Holstead for a Rhode Island reset. This is Karifa Yao. Now Jope. Harivo, maybe too cute on that little flick. Darce's header finds its way to Bacharach, and it could open up here for Amos Shapiro Thompson on the far side, but he checks it down. Then slides it through for Holstead, and he's dispossessed. That ricochets in behind here. MD Myers gets away from one. Myers' shot is deflected. It nearly fell for Rodriguez. Space for Quizera. Finds Noah Fuson. Clay Holstead lays the ball off. Bacharach finding Quizera. Final seconds of the half, Martinez snuffs it out. Rhode Island hang on to it. Clay Holstead gearing up for another long throw in the half's final seconds. Got some air underneath it, but it is headed away only as far as Holstead. Gets it back from Quizera. Hamady Jope loses out to Aaron Malloy. Is there time for Charleston to bring this up the other end? Rhode Island are a bit stretched here. Malloy has Jennings off to his right, maybe waited too long. The feed still has a chance here for Rodriguez, and Rodriguez's cross into the middle is touched out of play, and that's where the first half ends here in Mount Pleasant. We had a number of end-to-end sequences in that first half. Both teams still just missing that clinical edge, 0-0 after 45.
Credit to Rhode Island FC, who certainly started the half strong, retained control, were very aggressive defensively, and then to the Charleston Battery for making the appropriate changes, playing a little bit more direct, but sticking to what they're best at, Sean. Ball at their feet, clean decisions, getting attackers in the final third.
Let's go down to Brooke, who's with Charleston head coach Ben Pierman.
Ben, you said yesterday that you wanted to get the animals out of the cage. Now after this first half, after getting fouled a lot, you wanted to calm down. How do you do both in the second half?
No, you're right on. It's got to be a balance. Our football wasn't good enough. Obviously, the chance creation and the balls in the box and the action were good. Just need to be a little bit calmer, take a breath. These playoff games are intense. So just finding a little bit of reversal. We're going forward. When we go forward, the two up top are causing problems. So we don't want to have that, don't want to stop that aggression, but a little bit more thoroughness. Can we find Jeremy or Arturo between the lines and then go from there and then be ready in transition?
What do you need to see from the defensive side of the ball in the second half?
We've been all right. I think for me, Diop's a good dribbler from that left side, but we've also turned him over and then transition. So, making sure we limit fouls, making sure some stuff here on our right side. But look, if we go again like that in the second half, we'll get one and we'll push them back.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks.
Guys.
Brooke, Ben, thanks so much. Halftime in this Eastern Conference quarterfinal. It's a grudge match between the last two Eastern Conference champions, and it's 0-0 as the plot thickens in the Low Country. We'll look around the rest of the USL Championship after this. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Remember, this is the first of 2 games in the playoffs on CBS Sports Network. Today it's 0-0 between Charleston and Rhode Island. Later on tonight in the Californian capital, the 2-seed Sac Republic hosting the 7-seed Orange County. Sean St. Jacques, Devin Kerr back here with you. Looking at last night's result, obviously a big win for Tulsa, the number 1 seed. Phoenix impressed you with a road win at El Paso.
Love the character that first-year head coach Pa Moduka has instilled and maintained in this Phoenix Rising team. Never say die attitude. They can do a little bit of everything, play aggressive, physical, direct. New Mexico United, speaking of aggression, the amount of numbers that they are now committing forward, as well as the complement with all our ball at their feet, is why they've been so successful as of late. But the big story, one of the best we've ever seen do it in the regular season, Louisville City, the number 1 overall seed in USL Championship playoffs, downed by the 8th seed Detroit City. Some numbers, only 3 shots on goal for Detroit City. 40% possession. They only beat 1 team in a top 4 spot all year long, but the only number that matters, the one on the scoreboard and advancing to the next round.
That was Louisville's 2nd loss against a USL Championship opponent all year, and it ended their season. 0-0 in our game in the 2-7 matchup in this Eastern Conference quarterfinal. More about the USL coming up after the break. Watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. It's halftime in the Low Country, 0-0 scoreline in the 2-7 game between the Charleston Battery and Rhode Island FC. Welcome back inside the broadcast booth, everybody. Devin Kerr, Sean St. Jacques, happy to have you with us. Lots to get to from the first half between Charleston and Rhode Island in a moment. But of course, it's some of the big news potentially surrounding the USL in the future. An article from the New York Times from Oliver Kay talking about a potential big hire. Tony Scholes, the chief officer of the Premier League, could potentially be coming over to help with promotion and relegation.
A bunch of different points to take here. Let's start with the individual and the idea that the news would be Tony Scholes being appointed to run USL's new first division. Experience and promotion successfully with Stoke City in the English Premier League, leadership atop the EPL overall, an understanding of financials and broadcast. Very dense in nature in his background. But this is a slow burn for USL and their ambition. That's what you want to hone in on here. With the departure of Jake Edwards, their president, back in 2023, they needed a leader. They brought Paul McDonough, instilled in U.S. soccer all over. Then, the announcement earlier this season, again, ambition one thing, but taking the necessary steps to set up sustainability, the key word you want to focus in on for the future. All the appropriate moves being made by USL.
Certainly an interesting thing to think about for the future of the USL. And in the present, we've got a good game brewing here between the second-seeded Battery and the seventh-seed Rhode Island. The second half kick is coming up after the break. Moments away from the start of the second half here on CBS Sports Network. We look here at the travel map brought to you by Best Western and hone in on the movements of MD Myers from Charleston.
Very aggressive by MD Myers, especially the final 20 minutes. That's what you want to hone in on here, Sean, is the movement by MD Myers. Work rate down underneath the loop, absolutely. But what he was able to create at the tail end of the first half, 7 for 7, perfect passing accuracy in the first half. but all 3 of his touches in the final third in the final 10 minutes.
Remember, the winner of this game plays North Carolina next week in the Eastern Conference semifinals. These are the last 2 Eastern Conference champions, hoping that they can make another deep run through the USL Championship playoffs this year. Get a win for Charleston, and they have home field, of course, throughout the rest of the playoffs through to the final. If they get there, Rhode Islanders so used to being road warriors in the championship playoffs, hoping to take the first step to what could be another miracle run after getting to the final in Colorado Springs a season ago. Again, moments away from kick, Sean St. Jacques, Devin Kerr, Brooke Kirchhoffer on the sideline, our entire crew. Pleasure to have you with us. Rhode Island kick us off. They're going from left to right in the second half. They send it right out of play, and it's a Charleston throw in the opening 10 seconds of the second half. That is a very quick giveaway. Cal Jennings up ahead. Myers trying to flick it. In the end, Rhode Island were able to clear it. Sue Landry to Langston Blackstock on this near side. Certainly had some end-to-end action in that first half. Some near misses from both teams, at least as far as the clinical edge is concerned. Well, Brooke Kirchhoffer caught up with Rhode Island head coach Cano Smith in between the first and the second half. Brooke, what do you have for us?
Cano Smith pulled J.J. Williams at the end of the first half. I wanted to have a conversation with him about the way they are pressing. He said he doesn't want him to chase. They need to be more compact. Don't get too stretched. And in terms of all of the fouls that we have seen J.J. Williams pick up in this first half, Cano Smith said, look, he's just got to be more thoughtful. That's a part of his game. We're going to see that. Dave McKay said as far as the second half goes, we have to stay the course, be smart on the ball, because right now here in Charleston, the pitch is very much beat up, especially in the middle, and so they really want to stay away from that in their build and use the flanks of the field.
Certainly as it relates to J.J. Williams and the infractions, thought he did really well to adjust to his overall game. But going back to the opening point that Brooke made, you look at that initial line of pressure. Don't just chase, have real intent or purpose of how you're going to apply that against the back line, something they got away from the entire team, Rhode Island FC, towards the tail end of the first half. They were excellent in the first half hour.
That ball slithers through for Williams. The layoff for Holstead. Space for Amos Shapiro-Thompson to operate. He clips in a really good ball, and the header bounces onto the roof of the net from Zach Harivo, who was unmarked.
Clever for Clay Holstead to just usher this back to the outside. Could have tried to hold it centrally, but recognized the advanced position by Amos Shapiro-Thompson. Didn't see it a lot in the first half. This is something we did see. Loved what we saw from Harivo popping out of that midfield location. That's the coverage and luxury you have of Hugo Baccarat locking down that center spot.
Charleston get the throw after a good step defensively on Cal Jennings from Frank Nodarse. Douglas Martinez to try to loft this into the penalty area for the Battery in search of the breakthrough. Instead, he plays it to Malloy. Have a quick 1-2 amongst themselves. There's space for Malloy, who really strikes it in there. Oh, was redirected by Leland Archer, but it's right at Coque Vegas.
There's no chance Archer saw this with the way that Aaron Malloy put real venom behind this ball. I mean, it's just a whisper atop of the deck to drop it inside the 18 Very impressive from one of the most lethal out of the midfield in Aaron Malloy.
That is Hamady Jope, who needs a moment for Rhode Island. It's been a physical game so far. That's what we expected it to be. And that part has certainly lived up to the billing so far. Bacharach slips it through for Fuson. Fuson looking for Williams, just a step behind. And did it go over the line on that far side? It's still in play. Charleston do eventually knock it out for a throw. Bacharach stays with it, gets to the byline. And the cross into the middle. Nobody there for Rhode Island to really attack it. Charleston get it clear but cannot keep possession. Holstead has his pocket picked by Jennings. Usu Landry plays it out to the far side. Martinez has real estate to run into. He pokes it up ahead for Jennings. Jennings the layoff here. Arturo Rodriguez spins, looks for help, finds Malloy. The cross into the middle, hits the side netting, and is touched out for a corner.
Loved what we saw here out of Douglas Martinez. Really what we've seen over the last 7 games or so. Lockdown at the right back spot. And again, just the understanding of why you would utilize him there. Notice his body positioning, Sean. Forward facing the entire time, head up, always looking. The attack-minded nature of the modern right back.
It will be Arturo Rodriguez to deliver for the Battery. And the veteran referee, Elton Garcia, just a word for Langston Blackstock and for Zach Harivo, trying to keep the shenanigans at a minimum here. Always easier said than done. On the packed crowd here at Patriots Point, trying to build some momentum for the Battery from this corner. In by Rodriguez. The flicked header away by Jope. Only as far as Malloy. Usu Landry unleashes an effort, but it's a wild effort, and it's well out of play.
What a pickup he's been, Usu Landry for the Charleston Battery. Had an opportunity to see them very early on in preseason down in Florida against DC United. Best player on the pitch. That's a mistake.
Quizera's there to mop it up.
Bringing him over from New Mexico United. Ball retention for sure. Real aggression in the midfield. Something that gives a little bit more of a stretch next to Aaron Malloy. And certainly depth, which is something that in the midfield conversation for the Battery, they're struggling with right now. A lot of players unavailable due to selection. Emilio Icaza, Chris Allen, who also doubles as an outside back, so that versatility that he brings to the game as well. And as the season has gone on, more and more aggressive, trying to push the tempo going forward for this attack.
Well, that man, Jeremy Kelly, has really provided a nice boost for the Battery this season. He saved this from going out of play and gets it out for a throw instead. Ben Pierman's waxed lyrical about Jeremy Kelly in multiple conversations we've had with him this season about the boost and the impact he's provided this Charleston outfit this season. Number 29 in black. is Hugo Bacharach. Able to poke that through. It was helped along by Holstead. In the end, Blackstock is there on the cover for Charleston. Here's Leland Archer. For Graham Smith. Smith again goes direct over the top looking for Kelly. It's Nodarse's header. It's Shamiro Thompson on the follow-up. Fuson. He's fouled. That's a free kick. Charleston are contending that there wasn't any contact.
Really difficult from the angle that we had to tell us to whether or not there was an actual infraction. Certainly, space goes down quickly. I love the look here from Andy Myers, always understanding where it comes from. That's not a foul whatsoever. Mistake by the referee, pulls out of it. Barely any contact on the back end. Would say, though, that good look by Rhode Island to find that dicing ball through. A little bit off in terms of tempo on this right-hand side, but they've been very consistent on the build through the left. Something that when you continue to go forward here in the second half, I'd like to see that narrative change a little bit because of the predictability aspect. There you go.
Shamiro Thompson has space. The early cross, he's going to be cut out in the end, but cleared away only as far as Bacharach. First time ball into the path of Haribo. And it's going to be a Charleston throw. Great step defensively by Malloy. Talked about the last 10 games of Rhode Island's right. We'll come back to that in a moment. Cal Jennings is onside here. One-on-one for the battery, and Jennings, oh, it's saved. Vegas makes a miraculous save for Rhode Island and keeps out Cal Jennings.
That's a really good step off the back line to step through. Thought it was Aaron Malloy who gets that first touch. Absolutely. Midfielder closes the space down. What a little pirouette by MD Myers. That's the pocket presence we talk about. That touch right there, a little difficult for Cal Jennings. Now the problem is, if he brings it further away from his body, really good closure of space by the back line of Rhode Island, and textbook goalkeeping. Koke Vegas standing tall, really big out off the line. Quality save.
Well, there's a reason Koke Vegas finished second in the Golden Glove in the USL Championship this season. Comes up with a gigantic save, but Rhode Island are not out of the woods yet. Malloy from the corner, and there's nobody there to attack it for the battery.
Fourth time now, we've seen that long ball up over the top really put pressure against Rhode Island FC. It's something that is very uncharacteristic of them because of how organized they normally are. No one's really challenging the first ball either. Understanding that that one on the release by MD Myers is a unique circumstance. The other three, though, Sean, we keep looking back on. There's not enough pressure on the initial one, and they're not tracking the second runner appropriately. That's just communication. You know, we came into the game and I said that it's a different look with Nodarse, Yao, and Hamadi Diop with Shapiro, Thompson, and Hugo in front of them. That fluctuation has caused some quality chances for the Charleston battery in this match.
This was the last sequence. J.J. Williams may have gotten the wind knocked out of him. That was Husu Landry putting an elbow potentially into his chest.
Could argue a yellow card there. Away from the body, high.
Yeah.
J.J. Williams does a really good job of coming straight up on the challenge overall. That's the frustration by that man right there. Connor Smith, coach of Rhode Island.
You might be seeing some of the fans looking for cover here. It is starting to rain here in the Low Country as Jennings is able to sneak in behind again. Still Cal Jennings, he's trying to stay with it here. Rhode Island trying to clear it. It falls for Jennings again on the byline. The cross is touched just wide. And Myers in the battery thought it was last off Rhode Island for a corner. We'll come back to that.
Credit to both here. Prototypical Cal Jennings trying to play that Luis Suarez-like bounce off of you, run through, stays high, and the pressure overall. 3 separate players for the battery converge, and then the response defensively. Zach Harivo, what work rate. Marking MD Myers when the pressure comes back off, weak side support for Karifa Yao to step in and eliminate this ball coming back across.
Charleston did get the decision. It's a corner. Just past the hour mark. It's fizzed in there. Again, it's right there to be attacked. Nobody could do it for Charleston, maybe behind a couple of targets as well. That's a flex out for a Charleston throw on the far side. Brooke had mentioned earlier to us how beaten up the field is, particularly in the middle, and something that Rhode Island had touched on with her at halftime. The rain is certainly not going to help that. Something to keep a big eye on as we get closer. Remember, if the match ends in a draw, we would go to 2 15-minute periods of extra time and potentially penalties after that. Already had one penalty shootout yesterday. As Rhode Island try to surge forward, there's some slippage on the back end there. Charleston will reset with Blackstock on the near side. Lovely feed there. Kelly to Blackstock. Malloy. Rodriguez into the middle, too close to Coque Vegas.
Slow it down now if you're Rhode Island. Take some of the tempo out of this game, gain some organization back here as the game has opened up. They've struggled a little bit in transition. This is where you'd like to see the quality of players that Connor Smith has brought into this group and the capability with the ball at their feet come into the match. I like the physical side, absolutely, but retaining a little bit more control within this game that's gotten away from them.
Usu Landry runs out of real estate, dispossessed. Holstead for Harivo, good step by Graham Smith. Kelly again licking up with Usu, and then Malloy for Blackstock. Blackstock spears it out to the far side, and Martinez. Oh, Martinez glides through in the end, finds MD Myers. Back for Martinez, approaching the byline. Martinez's cross is blocked out for a battery corner as Martinez calls for more energy from this Charleston crowd. Arturo Rodriguez to take. And it's a good ball whipped in. It's headed out to Shapiro Thompson. He is able to touch it just past Malloy. It is going to go out for a Rhode Island throw in the end. And Landry trying to give his teammates some time to get back before it's taken. It is thrown in for Fuson. Fuson for Quizera. Quizera's ball across is cleared away by Leland Archer. Now Rodriguez, another end-to-end chance here. Myers through the middle for Jennings. Cal Jennings in behind, he tries to lay it off. And it comes up short. Koke Vegas scoops it up. Now Rhode Island's turn with Harivo. Quizera for Clay Holstead. Quizera's early ball into the middle is behind J.J. Williams, but it gives Shapiro Thompson a chance. And he will check it back to Nodarse with about 25 minutes plus stoppage time left in a 0-0 game. Place in the conference semis goes to the winner. Noah Fuson. And the little layoff from Holstead Bacharach. For Shapiro Thompson, first time ball across, good sliding challenge by Archer. Now Kelly. And Kelly is forced to swivel and check it down.
Well, the legs in the midfield from Hugo Bacharach starting to go a little bit. Good coverage by Clay Holstead. As the width continues to open up as well, I wonder as to whether Cano Smith might try and inject someone like an Alder Sanchez into this. Dwayne Atkinson, real pace on the outside. Still, the overall pressure that the back three are experiencing is the #1 cause for concern, which has got to be about putting a body on those two strikers. Too much freedom as the ball gets worked through. Doesn't matter if it's a 40-yard ball over the top or when MD Myers slipped that 10-yard ball through. You have to be shoulder to shoulder on Cal Jennings. Don't let him turn and cut in.
That's going to be a foul and a free kick for Rhode Island midway through their own half. Fuson for Harivo. Fuson again for Harivo again. And the step in by Smith, Leland Archer, I should say, with Aaron Malloy. Cleverly play their way out. Blackstock as well around Shapiro Thompson. He's not giving up on it. Blackstock's ball down the line is going to be easily collected in the end by Vegas. Another chance for Rhode Island in the build-up here with Holstead. Kelly is able to pick it back off for Charleston. Now Malloy did well initially, but then mashes the ball into Bacharach. Great hustle by Shapiro Thompson, appreciated by Cano Smith. Charleston trying to avenge the defeat against Rhode Island in the Eastern Conference Final here at Patriots Point last season. And Rhode Island hoping, believing that this could be their time again. And right on cue, J.J. Williams is offside, and he hit the post anyway. Charleston are going to make some changes here. Jeremy Kelly makes way for the Guatemalan international, Rubio Rubin. Could certainly be a difference maker down the stretch in this game. And Nathan Dos Santos is also going to come in. That will be it for Douglas Martinez. For more on the changes, we go down to Brooke.
Listening in to Charleston's last meeting, Dos Santos is entering this one because of the experience and what he can provide defensively. And then for Robin, they feel like they need fresh legs at this point in this match. Bring him in. He's a proven goal scorer. Want him to get after it here in this second half.
The important thing to notice is the rhythm that has been established by the Charleston battery and how it's going to be affected by the subs. It's not just two subs coming onto the field. What you should see is quick pivots between Rubio Rubin and Arturo Rodriguez, the ability to challenge either side, the movement by Langston Blackstock to the right back spot and Nate Dos Santos overall. So although two players, Sean, 3 definitive positions, possibly 4, depending on how they want to attack the width moving forward.
And those were the first 2 changes of the match for either side. 20 minutes plus stoppage time left. We could have extra time and penalties in our future if no one can find a winner.
What a ball.
And Shapiro Thompson's onto it on this near side. Ooh, and the interplay between him and Bacharach is snuffed out by Malloy. And then it's a clumsy tackle by Bacharach. Didn't need to do that. And he fouls the battery in their own half.
How complimentary was Connell Smith about Hamidi Diop and the left-footed center back, what he provides, marking-wise, his pace, the physicality, but most importantly, the ball at his foot. Man, does it just pop off. Love the decision-making we've seen out of the Senegal native and how quickly he brings it up to the midfield, gets this Rhode Island attack going forward.
Rodriguez, swarmed by 3 Rhode Island defenders here, manages to continue to fight for it, but loses his footing, and Rhode Island gets the ball back. Now the challenge there is going to see the referee bring this back. Free kick for Charleston. We'll catch more playoff footy as the NWSL's best go head-to-head in a quarterfinal matchup on November 8th at noon Eastern on CBS and streaming live on Paramount+. Well, once again, this is Aaron Malloy territory for the battery on a set piece. Both teams still in search of what could be the pivotal breakthrough. Malloy clips it in, and Smith's header is well wide and out of play. Oh, what a flick that is from J.J. Williams. Plays in Clay Holstead. Jojea Quizera. Back for Heravo and a reset to the halfway line. Jennings. Oh, he nearly made Koke Vegas have to work for it there. Vegas does get it away in time. And the ball looped over the top. Might have been a sniff of offside in that as Rhode Island stopped going after it. Zamudio for Dos Santos, the substitute. Oh, and Dos Santos hits it right off of Shapiro Thompson's chest. He's still feeling the after effects of that, maybe had the wind knocked out of him.
Love watching this young man. What an engine that he constantly has. He plays the angles game so well. Recognizing that this one didn't exactly benefit him overall, but as deep as he's had to have been deployed on this right side tonight, he really has eliminated a lot of the balls into the channel. If you recognize nearly every piece that's gone on in the second half, it's over into the opposite side of the field, keeping the game in front of him. But a very new task here for Amy Shapiro Thompson with what is currently Rubio Rubin marked up next to him. Keep an eye on the way Rubin can start to cut in centrally and how he passes that runner off.
Of course, Rubio Rubin had a wonderful Gold Cup for his home country, Guatemala, last summer. And when he was at it, you just wondered how the rich get richer. Charleston just always seemed, and Ben Pierman talked about how it's a full club effort throughout a season. Some guys are out. He asks the club, what can we do? Can we bring somebody in? Can we fill that void? Jeremy Kelly's a good example of that. Rubio Rubin's a great example of that as well. He said, well, people say team effort. We say it's a club effort to get all of this done. That's why Charleston have that balance. They have that depth that not many other teams have in the USL Championship, certainly amongst the teams that are left in the playoffs. Smith up ahead, it's played around the corner, looking for Jennings. Vegas and Rhode Island corral it. 15 minutes left of normal time. It's looped over the top, flag is up again against J.J. Williams. He again wonders how far off it was, and Zamudio had it covered either way. Williams with the pressure. Oh, Malloy nearly lost it. Well, he did, frankly. But it was touched back for Smith. Now Holstead for Rhode Island. Harivo for Fuson. Harivo follows up. Was he fouled there? Referee looked to play advantage. There was none. And it's brought back for a Rhode Island free kick in a very advantageous position.
Credit to Zach Harivo on the continuation of the run off of Hugo Bacharach. And I know if Fuson gets bumped off the ball, but Zach Harivo's head never loses sight of it as it comes back across his body. Watch this step right there. Really well done. Talked about the angles game earlier. Nice stretch of athleticism by Zach Harivo to keep this alive.
Zamudio sending instructions to his teammates as to how they want to build the wall here on the edge of the penalty area. Jope and Williams stand over it for Rhode Island. Wouldn't put it past JJ to have a wallop at it. Williams wallops, and it is going to be saved comfortably in the end by Zamudio.
Stung it well here. Problem was, just didn't move it away quick enough. A little bit too close to the goalkeeper. Wanted to tuck it inside the post. Hit with good pace, though.
Jennings looking for a foul, doesn't get it. And then Rhode Island looked to play this in behind. Ooh, Holsteady's going to get there first, ahead of Smith. Quizera ahead of Blackstock. Now Harivo. Again, trying to fight through the challenge from Rodriguez. Referee lets play continue. Myers came out with it, now Malloy. Shapiro, Thompson, and Harivo slide in. And eventually, Rhode Island are able to comfortably keep it with Karifa Yao. Now Bacharach. Quizera. Williams is asking for it in the middle. Quizera pokes it to the byline, and, well, Landry stands his ground. It's a goal kick. And that'll be the cue for some alterations on this near side. before we get to that, we can take a look at the Best Western upcoming schedule. Later on tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Network, the 2-7 game out west, Sacramento Republic against Orange County. Then the conference semifinals next week on ESPN Plus before November 22nd, noon Eastern, USL Championship final on CBS.
Roro Lopez, the red carpet out. A glorious career final run for him in playoffs for Sacramento Republic against an Orange County team, Danny Stone, who have really created identity on the attacking front. They're a bit short-handed on the back line right now due to injuries and international play. Should be a good one.
Rhode Island made a double change during all of that. Shapiro Thompson and Harivo make way for Dwayne Atkinson and Albert Dequa. That comes off Charleston last. And it's going to be a goal kick for Rhode Island. 10 minutes plus stoppage time left. MD Myers took exception to something that Karifa Yao said or did possibly there. Elton Garcia plays peacemaker.
Well, certainly it was the correct decision. The referee to points to top the box. Don't exactly think the native tongue was utilized between both players here to extend an invite to the next birthday dinner.
I'm not the best lip reader, but I think Yao may have bumped Myers as he was leaving the scene there, but who knows, maybe he won't get the Christmas card in the mail that he's hoping for. Although I know you're not a big fan of early Christmas cards. I'm with you on that, by the way.
Never, never.
The USL Championship being here is Christmas enough. That's what I say.
It's bad enough when I walk into a store in early October and I'm looking at snow globes and nutcrackers, two of which my heart favors.
I know.
December 1st, then we'll talk. Good ball there.
Fuson, oh, he flashed it across. Jojea Quizera, saved by Zamudio. Not cleared yet. Jope for the Jamaican, Dwayne Atkinson. Blackstock has defensive work to do. Did that leak over the end line? It did. It's a Rhode Island corner.
I love the quick decision here by Noah Fuson. One of the changes that you'll see is he'll move out to this right wing back position, all about vision, but the pace and in the injection of it that you get with Albert Dequa and Atkinson onto that front line to complement JJ Williams. It's been a little bit slow over the last 15 minutes for them moving forward.
Noah Fuson will deliver the corner for Rhode Island. 8 minutes plus stoppage time left. Fuson's ball in is good. It was towards Williams. There's a foul, though, in the skirmish. And the Battery get a free kick to alleviate the pressure. So let's head on down to Brook.
Well, Devin was just talking about Atkinson coming in and providing more on that front line. That's exactly why he was checked in to this one, bringing on two attackers in Dequa and Atkinson, wanting them to run, as Cano Smith was saying. He wants to keep Charleston under pressure. And the two guys that came out in Harivo and Shapiro Thompson, the reason why they came off in this one is they haven't played a lot of minutes as of late, more on a minutes restriction.
Well, certainly understanding the war of attrition that is taking place, absolutely. I think that's the part with Atkinson into this. To me, he was a huge part of the turnaround towards the tail end of season to good form. The 3-1 that turned into a 3-0 due to forfeit against Las Vegas Lights. Last 20 minutes, he, JJ Williams, Noah Fuson, untouchable moving forward. They were incredible in transition, synced up really well. After that, good complement defensively in the final couple of matches for Rhode Island FC. I do like the change here for Cano Smith, though.
One or two words for the fourth official there from Cano Smith. We Should mention, we're not there yet, but last season was Rhode Island's first season of existence. They got to the USL Championship final. They never had to go to extra time, let alone penalties, along the way last year. The most recent notable extra time game that the Battery played in might be the 2023 final that they played here against Phoenix that went all the way to penalties. Phoenix won on spot kicks that night. You were there, Devin, of course.
Feels like an eternity ago.
Does it ever? Still time, though, for someone to be a late hero. It's clipped ahead by Coque Vegas. And it's going to be a foul going the other way.
And the one thing you have to be careful of with all of that aggression on the front line is just make sure you've got good connection lines with your midfield too. Holstad and Baccarat will be exposed a little bit. Not saying they need to be, but that space underneath, that's just about work rate to help JJ Williams out and eliminate the ability for link-up play centrally on your 2-8s and Husu and Malloy.
Just to reiterate, if we do go to extra time, both 15-minute periods will be played in total, regardless of what the score is. Stay tight after that, we go to penalties. Charleston could have a chance here. This is Rubin on the scene, nudged off of it by Fuson. And then cannot find Dos Santos. How about the backtracking there by Albert Dequa to win it back for Rhode Island? Lovely little spinning turn there from Usu Landry, and it was played back for Archer. Referee stops it for a foul on this near side. And it does appear that Ben Pierman and the Battery want to make a change here. That is going to be it for Langston Blackstock. And he will be replaced by the veteran Mark Segbers.
Good shift for Langston Blackstock on either side, to be fair, who's primarily been utilized on the left. Quality on the right. And Mark Segbers, who's acquired a little bit more of a tweak for the Charleston Battery down the stretch here. Utilization up into the midfield. His ability to stretch the game, widely viewed for a long period of time in the championship as one of the better outside backs, although he's taken a back seat in the lineup as of late.
Rhode Island counter with Mark Ibarra, who replaces Clay Holstead. Mark Ibarra has actually played in every game against Charleston for Rhode Island in his tenure. And one of the reasons for that is that Cano Smith loves his work rate, his ability to cover so much ground. And of course, he has that veteran savvy and experience as well. Oh, a heavy collision there. And the assistant referee says it's enough for a foul on the far side. Nearly a dog pile broke out there. But the decision goes Rhode Island's way.
Certainly the miles that have gone off the odometer for Romney Joe. Cause for concern, Clay Kolstad. I mean, they have put in some kind of shift here today. The tracking laterally, the amount that they've had to chase in transition. MD Myers, Cal Jennings, the complement to each other. Best duo in the entire league. The numbers back it up.
Malloy tried to serve that ahead. It falls for Ibarra. Near side Fuson. Down the line for Dequa. Archer is going to get there and shepherd it out of play for a goal kick as we enter the 90th minute. Hugo Bacharach gliding through the middle of the park, but cannot find a teammate. Again, that's clipped over the top, looking for Jennings, and even the pacey Cal Jennings is not going to be able to catch up to that, and that will take us into second half stoppage time. And that number is 4 minutes. It's clipped over the top, Archer's header. Oh, and then it's given away to Fuson on the near side. Fuson's cross is blocked by Dos Santos and out of play. A switch of play by Nodarse. That comes up short. Jennings with the header. Myers could not get there ahead of Bacharach. The hold-up play by Dikwa. Ibarra. Bacharach. Fuson for Atkinson. Ibarra. Gets it back from Joe. Nodarse. Fuson. Lovely touch by Bacharach. Bacharach stands it up for Williams! Oh, it's off the bar! And then it's given away by Zamudio, and it's in! But no, it's not gonna count, it's a yellow card! Quizera takes it out of Zamudio's hands. The goal is not going to count. Moments after Williams had a point-blank chance to win it. Can you believe that?
Great sequence up through the middle. I love the turn that you're gonna get out of Hugo Bacharach centrally. The way that he drops his shoulder, sustaining pressure, and slicing right back through it, right there. What a touch that is. Drags the whole back line with him. A bit of contact centrally, and a recovery by J.J. Williams. That ball's not over. Watch the far side. Can't do that. Goalkeeper's making a move for it. You can't step into the path of Luis Zamudio. Always going to get you into trouble, but what a move that was by Bacharach to set up J.J. Williams.
You could see the celebrations, not just on the field, but briefly by the Rhode Island technical area. They thought they had just won it. But the goal does not stand on Quizera's attempt. He's actually booked for impeding the progress of Luis Zamudio. And then, of course, J.J. Williams. If anyone was going to have it fall to them in stoppage time for Rhode Island, they would have wanted it to be him. He hits the frame. And we're a minute away from extra time. Fuson for Atkinson. Still time for Rhode Island to win it here. Fuson plays it across for Williams, who's missed it again. And I think the flag may have been up anyway, but it's another close call. And again, Charleston are let off the hook.
On the left side of the back line for the Charleston battery after the change that brought Nate Dos Santos in. He struggled with the balls coming up through and up high. No matter the mark. Dikwa, Fuson, Dwayne Atkinson, all of which has culminated some quality chances for this team in front of net.
Here they come again, Rhode Island, with Bacharach. The step in defensively on the far side by Usu Landry. And then Segber shoves down Atkinson and gets yellow carded. Tempers fray again. Atkinson pushes out on Landry. It boils over here right at the end. And Elton Garcia wants a good look at this. Landry and Quizera now get into it. Segbers has already been booked. And we wait for the dust to settle here.
Good hold-up play again from Hugo Bacharach, who's really come into his own last 10 minutes, playing in a more advanced position. Now the rotation back over out there. This is a foul, sure, over the back. It's the continuation there that frustrates Segbers. No need for a yellow on the first. Yes, Segbers definitively should be booked. After the fact, I wonder that reach out right there. Husu has his hand away from his body, up near the neck of Atkinson, at least from the angle that we were on. Look, there's pushing and shoving from everyone, but I'm not so sure the referee saw it. If so, could definitely be cause for dismissal.
Now remember, there's no VAR in the USL Championship, so it's going to come down to the communication between Elton Garcia and the officiating crew here.
And that was going on behind him. The only person which he's talking to now that could have seen it would have been his AR. Now watch the backside. There's the red. Yep, that's what we're talking about. Elton Garcia shows it. You cannot, no matter what, put your hands on a player's face or up around the neck. That is always going to be a dismissal.
Elton Garcia is still getting some communication, it looks like, here. Oh, hang on a minute here. There's going to be another red card. And it's to Jojea Quizera. So Quizera, it appears, is sent off as well for Rhode Island. He was already on a yellow, but we didn't see the second yellow, so it might be a straight red here. It is completely boiled over here. Cano Smith is livid. And Jojea Quizera cannot believe it. Well, his teammates are trying to calm him down here. Well, it's safe to say Rhode Island are incensed by the decision here. As we have it right now, Husu Landry is sent off for Charleston. Jojea Quizera sent off for Rhode Island. Talk about chaos here in stoppage time.
Now you want to know the direct reason for the red on Quizera, because as you mentioned it, Sean, already sitting on the yellow, that's one thing, but Elton Garcia pulls a direct red, which means it's on a singular infraction, not a secondary yellow issued in the moment due to another coming to on the far side of the field. Where did he address Husu? You and I saw it clear as day. Hand up around the throat, no doubt whatsoever that it's going to be a red card in that situation. The frustration by Cano Smith, head coach of Rhode Island, is going to be why Quizera was dismissed.
Cano Smith was about to pop a blood vessel on this near side. He is absolutely beside himself over Jojea Quizera's dismissal. And as it stands, both teams are down to 10. And again, Mark Segbers was booked in that sequence as well for the battery. 10v10 at the moment. And extra time still to come. The plot thickens. An incredibly dramatic late sequence at the end of the 90 minutes here. Both teams reduced to 10 men. and we still have 30 minutes to play. 2 15-minute periods of extra time between second-seeded Charleston and the 7th seed Rhode Island for a spot in the conference semifinals in the USL Championship playoffs. We will step aside for now. Extra time is next. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Extra time on tap here in the Low Country between the Charleston Battery and Rhode Island FC. Alongside Brooke Kirchhofer, Devin Kerr, and our entire crew, Sean St. Jacques, happy to have you with us. We go back through the highlights of the 90 minutes, nearly 100 minutes, yet on stoppage time. We begin second half, big chance for Cal Jennings and the Battery.
The response for the Battery came right around the 30-minute mark. They were more direct, releasing Cal Jennings coming up high, one-on-one situations. The back three of Rhode Island FC, much too aggressive. They weren't passing the marker on. Instead, the diagonal runs really benefited the Charleston Battery. The response actually came from the physical dominance of play. Playing up high, reasserting yourself, and continuing the pressure. J.J. Williams, solid pace from distance, but nothing that was truly ever going to threaten Luis Zamudio. Now, the combination play is what I said they needed to lean in more at times. You need to be smart with it, right? When you're organized, you can play through. Hugo Bacharach had an incredible quarter hour to close out this game. His turns down into the corner, the vision and the ability to let the subs go and make an impact. Quezera on the second one coming back across nearly.
Late on, it was Rhode Island pushing, but then we had a chaotic moment that bubbled over in stoppage time.
Segber's going to come from the right side of your screen as he goes to ground. Watch Husu, 91, on the ground. When he stands up behind the referee, his right hand right there on the throat of Dwayne Atkinson. 100% a red card. What you're trying to figure out is 17, Josiah Quezera, and where his infraction comes from. Now his hands, 100%, they're on Segber's, but nothing in what you see there, Sean, leads us to believe that he would have been thrown out. Now, to be clear, sitting on a yellow card coming into the coming two. The difference is he's issued a straight red, not a secondary yellow. A lot to unpack at the tail end of it. Most importantly, still 0-0, and you're still even because it's 10v10.
Now the plot thickens. We told you earlier, this is a grudge match between these two. It was a rematch of the Eastern Conference Final last season. It bubbles over in stoppage time. Both teams down to 10. And we're going to play all the way through both 15-minute periods of extra time, regardless if anyone scores. If there is a winner at the end of that, they go on to the Eastern Conference semifinals to play North Carolina. If not, we go to penalties. Looks like Cano Smith is preparing a change here at the start of the first period of extra time. Aldair Sanchez is getting set to come on here. And that will leave Rhode Island. Well, actually, now with two changes. There's an extra substitution for either side going into extra time. So Sanchez replaces Dwayne Atkinson with that change. I do wonder if some of that was Dwayne Atkinson's part in getting in the middle of that scuffle.
You've got a decision to make here too if you're Ben Pierman, because you've gone down to 10 and you lost your central midfielder. If you're going to bring Arturo Rodriguez centrally, does he have the legs, considering all the work he's had to do over what was basically 105 minutes with the stoppages between the first two halves?
Underway in extra time. Charleston 0, Rhode Island 0. The winner goes on to the Eastern Conference semifinals. The ball goes out of play on the near side. It's a throw-in for the Battery. Charleston are in black. They're going from left to right here on CBS Sports Network. On the turn, Rubio Rubin. Aaron Malloy. Rodriguez for Segbers. Malloy whips in a beauty, and the header is blocked. Joe pushed over by Jennings. Free kick, Rhode Island. Rubin got his head on the end of that brilliant ball in by Malloy. And then Jennings, trying to win it back, ends up committing the foul. The header by Williams. Ibarra cannot get to the check down. Joke for Bacharach, who turns into space. Ibarra. Noah Fuson. Fuson is stood up by Dos Santos. Jennings. Double covered and loses the ball. Here is Sanchez. And Sanchez is dispossessed by Jennings, who recovers it. Smith out wide for Dos Santos. And then the clearance upfield towards Rubio Rubin, who holds up the play. Dos Santos really lost it, had it taken away from behind, and eventually it's Rhode Island's ball. Jope from Bacharach. Jope trying to slalom his way through. He does lose the ball. Good sliding challenge by Karifa Yao to stop a potential Battery break.
The good news is if you're Rhode Island FC, this doesn't really overall affect your structure. Because, yeah, you lose a player, but in an advanced position who had just come on. With the addition of Aldair Sanchez, he can drop in, be this pivot if they want to drop into a 4. If they stay with a 5, he's got incredibly fresh legs to push the tempo over here. The issue you run into with the Battery, and we hit it right on the head, is Arturo Rodriguez dropping in. Now, Aaron Malloy is going to be more active on the ball. He's more comfortable in deep lying positions. This puts more pressure on MD Myers and Rubio Rubin to constantly be the threat on the outside for fear of sending Segbers or Dos Santos on the left and right.
Jennings into the middle, first time ball in behind. Myers sees Vegas get there ahead of Rubio Rubin. Smith there ahead of Williams. No foul. Rubio Rubin was looking for one. It's a Rhode Island throw. Tikwa.
Good ball.
Around the corner for Ibarra. Back for Fuson. Checks it back for Nodarse. Ibarra to the byline for Dikwa. And Dikwa could not keep it in play. We will play to the 105th minute. There could be some stoppage time on the back end of that. A brief intermission, and then we'll play to 120 in extra time.
At least the rain stopped. There's got to be a silver lining here, Sean. Look, we're going down to 10. We haven't seen a goal yet. These four players have run themselves into the ground, but Mother Nature has been kind in the latter portions of this game.
Just another day in the USL Championship playoffs. Chance here for Rhode Island. And the shot is saved by Zamudio. That was a good chance for Dikwa. That is miscommunication at the back there. Dos Santos comes back to help Charleston out. This is, of course, Rhode Island's first ever playoff game that has gone to extra time in the club's short history. They beat Indy, Louisville, and Charleston on the road last year to get to the final, where they lost to Colorado Springs. This is Ibarra for Sanchez, meanwhile. Sanchez for Williams. Back for Aldair Sanchez, couldn't take the ball with him. Still alive for Ibarra. Cross into the middle, Dikwa's header is out of play.
Ben Pierman's got an issue down the stretch here because of the lack of options off the bench, specifically within the midfield and moving forward. His hands are pretty tied. Apanonu, Mikey Edwards, and Wes Leggett all available, all off the back line. You'd have to go with Diego Rodriguez or Vigo Ortiz, both young, both inexperienced. Just 3 appearances between those other two over the course of the year. Now, he's not necessarily known for going deep into his bench to be able to impact a match, but when you're down to 10, and especially the control that Rhode Island have started to get on the overall run of play here, difficult spot. Don't overcomplicate it. You know, one foot in front of the other, make Rhode Island chase here, start to make them feel tired in the moment, and mentally wear them down. Good ball.
Now the hold up there from Rodriguez. Played it back for Malloy, now Dos Santos. Cross into the middle. Oh, and Sanchez miscued that. And is dispossessed by MD Myers on the near side. Myers into the middle, caught by Vegas. And there's a little bit of a tussle breaking out behind Koke Vegas that is split up.
Watch the left shoulder if he gets in front here. Might have gotten away with one there, MD Myers. Credit to Koke Vegas. Man, his understanding, box presence, quickly reads that this is going to be distributed into the 6, and instead of worrying about what could be on the ball in, just eliminates it. Beautiful aggression displayed by the goalkeeper.
So many times this year where there's been doubt surrounding Rhode Island and their playoff hopes. Koke Vegas has been the player to come out and say, keep the faith, keep believing in us, talking to the fans of Rhode Island. Jope, curling it in behind, Zamudio tracks it down. Malloy under pressure. Segner's under pressure. Bacharach followed through there, but it looked like he got a decent amount of the ball, if not all of it, and sends it out of play. Williams. He's in behind here. J.J. Williams plays it across. And the shot is cleared away by Dos Santos off of Fuson's attempt. Rodriguez looking upfield. It would nearly fell in behind, and then the whistle goes. Foul against Rubio Rubin to end the sequence. Bacharach lost it. Myers trying to feed it through. It's Jobe's challenge to win it back for Rhode Island alongside Dikwa's help. Four minutes plus stoppage time to the midway point of extra time. M.D. Myers couldn't quite thread the needle for Jennings, who lost his footing underneath the surface. Bacharach. Noah Fuson. Gets it back from Dikwa. Bacharach. Clipped in by Sanchez. The header's laid off, and it's a miscued volley by Ibarra. Rubin trying to help out defensively, but he gives it up. Ibarra swiveling past a couple of challenges. Ibarra's ball in. It's cleared away by Archer, not definitively cleared yet. Sanchez, Hugo Bacharach sees his volley soar off target.
Certainly been the most consistent in a Rhode Island jersey over the last, call it 40 minutes. The spectacular, nearly. This is all Rhode Island right now. Full control of the game, tempo with the ball at their feet, the depth of their bench on full display. Real ambition for the visitors.
Pressure there from Jennings. It's given away here. Myers from Malloy, but no Darce gets a critical step in there for Rhode Island defensively. No Darce pirouettes away from Myers. Finds Ibarra. Let's see, bottom of your screen, Charleston are getting a change ready. We'll get to that in a moment. Hamady Jobe. Bacharach. J.J. Williams. And the Rodriguez challenge ricochets it to Zamudio.
You better believe, short-handed as they are, that Luis Zamudio is going to let the clock tick. Word that Apononu's going to step in. Wonder if Ben Pierman might pull some trickery out of a hat here, and that's a foul.
Rodriguez brought down. It's a free kick, and it's going to be a yellow card handed out as well.
This turn by Arturo Rodriguez, he had to reach deep into the well to be able to pull enough energy, keep the calves at a high rate, and spin off this to pick up some speed. MD Myers, again, man, doing the work, just down into the pocket, so much pressure, clean decision. And going back to Appanotto, if they bring him in, whether or not they want to try and run with 3, something they've become more comfortable with to close games out. Joey Appanotto really comfortable with the ball, and at the collegiate level, had been utilized within that 6-8 pivot.
Now this could be the last moment of the first period of extra time. There's no scheduled stoppage time. Malloy got it started, it's whipped into the middle, the header is looped into the air and palmed over the top by Vegas. That'll end the first period of extra time. Charleston wanted to take the corner. It was Jennings with the header. Elton Garcia says no, there's not enough time to take it. To be fair, there was not stoppage time added on at the end of this first half of extra time.
Credit to Koke Vegas to readjusting the ball in. You know, the flick that comes back through by Cal Jennings just lost it a bit. He's a bit high off his line, the goalkeeper. Thought maybe he was going to have to adjust to this ball coming back over his right. Beautiful display of goalkeeping. You can't blame the referee. With no added time on here, certainly as a player, you always want them to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're not going to end it on the restart, but by the book, it's not the wrong decision.
We stay where we began, 0-0, with the second period of extra time coming up in just a few moments. And certainly Rhode Island had the better of it in that first period of extra time. Ben Pierman asking his players to dig deep here with still 15 minutes of extra time left and potentially penalties after that.
Tactically, Rhode Island is the better team right now. You know, they've made the quality changes. Connor Smith, we keep talking about the flexibility, the depth of his groove, and their belief early on in the game. The tactical side of the game is now favoriting Rhode Island. Ben Pierman is going to talk about the belief that has to be contagious from their counterparts. The trump card that has been the Eastern Conference foe of Rhode Island once again on the prowl. And if you want to be that team that can host everyone, if you want to put a star above your crest, if you're the Charleston Battery under Ben Pierman, you have to think that you still have a chance right now, as much chasing as you just did in that opening 15 minutes.
Both sets of players re-enter the battlefield for the final 15 minutes of extra time. Remember, both teams, for those just joining us, down to 10 men. Jojea Quizera was sent off at the end of stoppage time, at the end of full time. And then, of course, the straight red card as well, or Josu Landry for the Charleston Battery moments before that. So both teams have been down to 10 for the entirety of extra time, and that will continue. And the teams will switch sides at the start of extra time as well. Rhode Island going from left to right in the second period of extra time. If we stay like this at 1:20 and beyond, we will head to a penalty kick shootout. Let's send it down to Brooke with more on Charleston.
Ben Pierman told his group right before going into this extra time, saying we're going to go with 2 forwards. They're not going to be ready for it. Take advantage and take your moment here.
Will one of these two sides be able to claim a glorious late goal here? That would send them through to play North Carolina in the conference semifinals next week. Rodriguez tried to feed that through, but there's a player down. When Hugo Bacharach Has picked up a yellow card for an earlier infraction in the sequence.
Sigbers was already on the ground when the challenge came through by Hugo Baccarat. Give him credit, just trying to close this thing out. Leaves a little bit into it. Sorry, Leland Archer there. Right decision, and the change to the two strikers, sure. Rhode Island's not going to be expecting it right away, but that adjustment will be simplified by just a conversation with Aldair Sanchez and Noah Fuson. Be aware that you've got the pace that could come on the diagonal. You still have a 3v2 up top. I think the identity on the width of the field is what the Charleston battery would benefit the most from. It would be 3. Apononu, player on the ball right now, really good. Advancing play coming forward with Dos Santos and Sigbers trying to push the tempo up higher. Really struggled on the width, and that really caught the last hour, to be fair.
Another heavy collision away from the play here. It's played in behind for Rubin, who was in an offside position. Apononu keeps it away from Dikwa. Dos Santos. Arturo Rodriguez gets to the byline and lost his footing. One back by Apononu. And he'll reset for Smith. Awkward pass there by Malloy. It does get to Archer. Dos Santos closed down by Baccarat. He says it should be a Rhode Island throw, and that is the outcome. Well, we lost the #1 overall seed last night. Louisville losing to Detroit at home by 1-0. The next team in line for home field advantage through the rest of the playoffs is Charleston.
Oop.
That slipped out of Nodarse's hands. Rodriguez losing out in the end. It's well recovered by Smith off of Williams. What a back heel. Chance here for Rubio Rubin, but his touch was too firm. And Vegas uses that to get onto the ball in time. What a chance.
Exactly the runs we were just talking about. As quickly as it slipped through, that diagonal back through, drifts over the back shoulder. Karifa Yao doesn't peek over, tired legs, can't keep up. And uncharacteristically, Rubio Rubin lacking quality at the tail end. That's the build Ben Pierman wants, though.
This is Sanchez. Plenty of space to run into for Albert Dikwa. Now Fuson. And Fuson's cross ricochets out for a throw-in.
Keep the work rate up here for Albert Dikwa. A little bit lost since they've gone down to 10. Certainly the relationship with J.J. Williams has always been the question mark, but don't look at that right now. Instead, continue to apply pressure. Malloy coming out of the pocket over here. Really give Aaron Malloy something to think about on the left side with Dos Santos.
The ball in by Sanchez is caught out of the air by Zamudio. Now Dikwa. Ibarra for Joe. He switches it onto this near side for Fuson. Played back onto this near side for Dikwa. Albertiqua's ball into the middle. Fizzes past everybody. We've had one penalty kick shootout already in these USL Championship playoffs. Pittsburgh beat Hartford last night at Highmark to prevail, and of course they'll host Detroit next week due to Louisville's shock defeat. Rhode Island have been in a couple of notable post-game moments, particularly penalty kick shootouts, particularly against Hartford in the Jägermeister Cup. Rhode Island have it in here, but it falls kindly in the end for Luis Zamudio, who had it ready all the way.
Love the ball overall from Aldair Sanchez, the way he hits this. It's right in that gray area for a backline and a goalkeeper as to whether or not this is going to come back across and pick out the far post, or if you're going to have an oncoming runner. The conditions as well, Sean, the way it skipped up off the deck, very difficult for Zamudio to be clear-handed.
The switch onto this near side is cut out by Dos Santos.
Notice the gap right side of your screen, Sean, about 15 yards in between that front line and the midfield.
Ball in behind here. Can JJ get there? No, he cannot. Zamudio beats into the spot.
Wondering if you can, because Nate Dos Santos isn't pushing too far on the left, not right now anyway. If you could pivot, Noah Fuson and Albertiqua with each other, release Noah Fuson down underneath JJ Williams, just give him the ability to combine a bit more. Now you're making Albertiqua work defensively. I see that, but you could work in tandem off of each other if you flatten out his run a little bit, give each other the complement, but also the collaboration on the inside.
Apanonu. Back for Smith, clipped up ahead for Archer, who does have runners in front of him. Rubin for Rodriguez. Nathan Dos Santos stands it up, and it's punched away by Vegas. Segbers tracks it down. Now Rodriguez. Malloy tried to slip it through for Segbers. It is out for a corner for the Battery.
The best looks we've seen all night long for the Charleston Battery in set pieces have been that long angled ball over to the back post with a redirect. Makes it really difficult to track runners with all the bodies in the box in that late entry.
In by Rodriguez, nearly a chance for Archer. Oh, did it come off the hand of Apanonu? Yes, it did. Elton Garcia's all over it. It's a Rhode Island free kick. Bacharach continues to move this forward, lays it off for Fuson. Great sliding challenge by Dos Santos. "4 minutes plus stoppage time between us and penalties." Fuson for Bacharach. Bacharach for J.J. Williams, touched away from him. Clip back in by Fuson, touched away again, this time by Archer. Fuson into the middle, cleared away by Apanonu. Rubin tried to keep the ball in play, ended up giving it away to Rhode Island. Here's Ibarra. Dequa. Fuson closed down by Dos Santos. Bacharach closed down by Dos Santos. It's a fair challenge. Rhode Island player down away from the play. But Charleston don't have to stop it. I think it's J.J. Williams just getting back to his feet. Malloy. Little layoff for Rodriguez, who tried to feed it all the way through, but could not pick out a teammate at M.D. Myers. Tussle continues in this near side corner. It's cleared up field, only as far as Fuson, who tries to sneak it through from Mark Ibarra. Apanonu clears it out for a throw-in. And before Rhode Island will take it, Kano Smith is preparing a couple of changes here. Frank Nodarse is going to make way here. Ame Mabika will take his place. Karifa Yao is out as well. For a guy that's pretty good at taking penalties, Maxi Rodriguez has already scored a couple of big spot kicks this season for Rhode Island. Made a couple of huge regular season penalties for Rhode Island, although he did miss in the Jägermeister Cup and Sacramento. Bacharach tried to shoot it. J.J. Williams trying to hold on to it here. He slips. Malloy trying to poke it away from him. Williams is brought down on the edge of the area. Charleston are able to leak out with it. Rubin on this near side. Mabika trying to hang with him here. And the four Rhode Island players eventually get it away from him. Battery throw. Dos Santos takes it quickly. J.J. Williams is down again, away from the play. Back up is Archer, moves it over the halfway line. Could we see a late twist at the end of extra time? Archer continued his run. The cross into the middle, Fuson's clearance. Played back across, the shot is blocked. It was Rodriguez trying to go. Malloy! Oh, what a save by Vegas! Charleston throw on the near side. Into stoppage time here. Joey Apanonu skies it. Goal kick, Rhode Island. Into stoppage time at the end of extra time. That is it. Full time. 0-0 is the final score. A battle between two of the best in the Eastern Conference. The last two Eastern Conference champions. Nothing to be decided between them. Only one result. That means penalties are imminent here in the Low Country. My goodness. For a 0-0, that was a heck of a game here in Mount Pleasant. We'll step aside, don't go anywhere. Penalties are next. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Sean St. Jacques, Devin Kerr, Brooke Kirchhoff, our entire crew. Happy to have you with us. We are headed for penalties between second-seeded Charleston and the number 7 seed Rhode Island. They just always seem to bring the best out of each other, particularly in the big days, the big games. And none bigger than this, with a trip to the Eastern Conference semifinals at stake. North Carolina awaits the winner of this upcoming shootout. For Rhode Island, they've had positive moments at times from the penalty spot this season, particularly in the regular season. In the Jägermeister Cup, they lost 2 shootouts, one to Hartford and one to Sacramento Republic in the semifinal. Charleston would love to put to bed the penalty shootout that they lost here in the 2023 USL Championship final to Phoenix. They were 2 up in that shootout. After 2 rounds, Phoenix clawed it back and won the title. The captains, Koke Vegas, Leland Archer, meet for the coin toss, and sometimes the end that we kick at for penalties could make an impact. Who kicks first is always a debate on whether or not it's a positive or a negative. And certainly all of the extracurriculars that go into a penalty kick shootout will be on full display. Boy, we had a wild end to the 90 minutes with 2 players getting sent off. And then we had a wild end to extra time as well. Looks like we're going to be going to the left end here. That's away from the Charleston Ultras. So Ben Pierman and the Battery players are trying to send some of the fans to the opposite end here from right to left. You can see them waving to the Ultras here, trying to get them over to the other side. Well, as the fans move over to this side, Zamudio and Vegas with a handshake. And it appears that Rhode Island is going to go first here. J.J. Williams, who actually missed a penalty against Sacramento in the Jägermeister Cup. That was a semifinal. Sacramento, of course, got to the final and lost to Hartford in the end. Williams, though, made amends in the regular season win against Tampa Bay. Made a big penalty in that game to make it 3-0. He'll go head-to-head with Leo to start the shootout. We told you the surface is a bit run down. J.J. Williams is trying to make sure it's steady on the spot here to start the shootout. Off we go. Williams against Zamudio to start round 1. And he buries the penalty. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Williams converts.
What a way to announce yourself into this penalty situation. Perfect penalty. Love how he changes the angle of address right at the tail end, allowing himself to come back across the body. He's got some space coming up on it. Really difficult for the goalkeeper.
First up for the Battery, Aaron Malloy. Looking to match J.J. Williams in this opening round of penalties. And he does. Sends Vegas the wrong way. 1-1.
The tactician that is Aaron Malloy. Why not just drive right through it? Incredible amount of pace. No chance any goalkeeper's getting to that.
Round 2 begins. And Hamady Jobe is going to take here for Rhode Island. He's one of those rare left-booted center backs that Cano Smith has raved about. Can he hold his nerve from the spot? Yes, he can. 2-1 Rhode Island. Charleston are next.
Pulls out of this at the end. Well taken penalty. A lot of times the left footer will try and come all the way back through, plant that right foot in. Instead, he slows his body right at the tail end of it, allows his hips to open up, sends the goalkeeper packing.
Well, for club and for country, frankly, Rubio Rubin has been at the heart of big, big moments, just this year alone, frankly, but throughout his entire career. He's now entrusted with this all-important second penalty for Charleston. Rubin just about beats Coque Vegas, who got a big touch on it, could not keep it out, tied it 2.
Nearly. The elements don't help the goalkeeper here. The way that the ball doesn't stay clean and instead hops up off the deck right at the tail end. He was on the sniff of it. The extension, just that little bounce in front of him. The kiss of death for Coque Vegas and a sigh of relief for Charleston.
Maxi Rodriguez is next. He scored big penalties in the regular season, missed in the Jägermeister Cup, scores in the playoffs. That's exactly why Cano Smith brought him on, and he comfortably converts to put Rhode Island on top. Round 3 continues. Arturo Rodriguez is next up for Charleston. Another player who's been a big game player everywhere he's been in his career. This is to put Charleston back on level terms. Oh, and Rodriguez skies it! Advantage Rhode Island into round 4.
Indecision for Arturo Rodriguez. The address on it, the way that he steps through, just back the whole way. Doesn't pick a corner, doesn't stay up over top of it. Instead, caught in no man's land. An advantage, Rhode Island.
Up next for Rhode Island to start round 4, Hugo Bacharach. If he scores, it's match point for Rhode Island. Can Zamudio make a big save for the battery? Bacharach converts! And Rhode Island are nearly there.
Hard to argue the cleanest decisions all night have come from anybody other than Hugo Bacharach. Just well taken. Plants his foot in, stays up over top of it. Notice how he just steps right through it into the bottom corner. Perfect placement for Hugo Bacharach.
Charleston has to convert this penalty. M.D. Myers is to step up here in round 4. If he misses, Rhode Island will head to North Carolina next week. If he scores, we head to a 5th round. Myers scores to keep the battery alive, and it's score to win for Rhode Island.
Top quality penalty. Coque Vegas on it the whole way. Tired legs for the goalkeeper as well, but hit with enough pace by M.D. Myers. Moving away from him, just a little bit of English to drag it with the tail of hope, but still in the driver's seat for the visitors.
Cano Smith turns to Ame Mabika. Can the big center half take Rhode Island through? Mabika to win it. He has won it! Ame Mabika wins the shootout for Rhode Island. And for a 2nd year running, Rhode Island conquered Charleston in their own backyard. and they book a one-way ticket to Cary, North Carolina for the Eastern Conference semifinals. Rhode Island do it on the road again.
All about belief. The changes down the stretch, near perfect for Cano Smith. Not a well-taken penalty. And enough time for the goalkeeper to come back through. Zamudio Hobson just doesn't come back through it. Within all of it, doesn't matter. Quality of form down the stretch continued to get better. Waxed and waned throughout the match overall, but the identity that has always been Rhode Island is about belief. Shines bright once again to continue on.
Rhode Island do it to Charleston again. Incredible. The nerve of this Rhode Island team. They made all 5 penalties. The big miss from Rodriguez. And in this memorable playoff rematch, Rhode Island are dreaming big again as they take down the Battery. And by the way, now the top 2 teams in the league have both lost in the first round of the playoffs. What an incredible opening round it has been in the USL Championship playoffs. Tulsa is now the top team left and has home field throughout the final if they survive next week. The updated bracket in the Eastern Conference of the USL Championship, Rhode Island dispatches Charleston on penalties. They'll play North Carolina next week for a spot in the conference final. Pittsburgh will play Detroit, who beat Louisville yesterday as well. Now, what a memorable game in these USL Championship playoffs. Rhode Island comes to Charleston again, and they win it on penalties to persevere and advance to the next round. For Brooke Kershaw, for Devin Kerr and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Another instant playoff classic sees Rhode Island win on penalties, and they march on. So long from South Carolina.